Simone Weil wrote, "Nearly all of human life has taken place far from hot baths." J.R.R. Tolkien wrote, "You could have a whole country in a garden." Is my garden just one big hot bath? Okay, we ready?
Does it have to? Can I do it there?
No, up a bit. Got to be over your face.
Right.
We ready? Hang on, let me get the camera going. Okay, go.
Alright, so, gardens. Very pleased to have my garden at this time, as are you, Martin, as is everyone on the street, I think. It's a huge boon in this lockdown, strange lockdown times. Very pleased to be able to watch the olives come out on my olive trees and listen to the birds, and I'm awaiting the arrival of the swifts, which should be in about 2 weeks, I reckon, if it's the same sort of time as last year. But also a little bit frustrated because I can't plant up the bed next to the wall, which I planned to this spring, which is kind of frustrating. But yeah, overall, really just very pleased to have the garden and good neighbours to chat to. Is that it? Is that a minute?
That'll do. Click it.
Click it. I'll click it now.
Click it.
That was a bit crap, wasn't it?
So this is Friday, the 27th of April. Gorgeous day, and this is the first day that I'm hanging clothes out on the line, which I always love. So, in terms of Simone Weil's quote, my clothes have had one hot bath in my new washing machine. They're now having another hot bath, as am I. So this is comfort, this is domesticity, this is a garden of one's own. What I always wanted. Now, is this a morally suspect self-sufficiency in view of what's going on in the world? Is any gratitude I or anyone else might feel for this good luck just a defence against the anticipated rage of the have-nots? Right, I'm switching it on so it's recording. Yeah? So, are you ready, Paddy?
Yep.
Wait for it. Off you go.
Gardens have always been important to us. I mean, from the Garden of Eden to the Hanging Gardens of Babylon to come into the garden, Maud. She was just the sort of creature, boys, that nature did intend to walk right through the world, me boys, without a Grecian bend. Nor did she wear a chignon, I'll have you all to know. And I met her in the garden where the praties grow. My own experience of gardens varied. I'm an observer of gardens rather than an active gardener. I remember once being in a back garden. I was sitting, looking at a tree, an apple tree. I was sitting on a what are they called, those things? You've got to cut this, I hope.
Go on then, cut it down.
Sitting, looking at a tree, an apple tree. I was sitting on a what are they called, those things? You've got to cut this, I hope.
Go on then, cut it down.
I was sitting on a deck chair. I'd been reading, I think, and then I looked up and saw this beautiful red apple on the tree, and I looked at it, and then it dropped just like that onto the ground. I nearly fell out of the deck chair, which is actually quite difficult to do. And I thought, my God, I got superpowers. So I looked at the next apple, and I stared at it and studied it for ages, but nothing happened. But that was an experience.
Clap. Fucking hell, Paddy. Fucking hell.
What?
This is taking up the whole of that fucking film.
That was only a couple of minutes. I'm only a minute
okay.
in.
Alright, so I'm going to use up the fucking 2 seconds of film that you've left me.
Well, you got to edit the bit where I couldn't remember what the fucking deck chair was called.
I'm gonna keep the whole thing in posterity. Honestly, no, that was great.
That happened, though. That actually happened.
Well, I don't give a shit. That's the other fascinating. Ready, Gabri?
Yeah.
Okay, we're rolling, go.
Take one.
Well, what can I say? I love my garden. I've been here 40 years and it's pretty wild, and I've so appreciated it during this coronavirus time, lockdown. It's been my joy, and especially full of birds in April. They're all singing their heart out, and I would wake up every morning and hear them twittering away. And it was just such a joy to be able to come down into my garden, go to the end, the sunny spot. The only fly in the ointment, though, I have to say, a couple of flies in the ointment, one of which were my next door neighbours, who did love to play their music next door, out every day playing his radio. Anyway, apart from that, it's all been good. Apart from the foxes, that was my other bête noire. So the foxes are in the foxhole, and they leave me little presents in the middle of the garden. First a dead pigeon, I believe, which then disappeared the next day. Anyway, I thought no more of it. And then a couple of weeks later, a large dead rat. But fortunately, that disappeared the next day. So all good. And it's just been lovely. And I did some paintings in the spring, you know, with the fresh green coming out. So, yeah, fabulous.
No, I didn't see it, Nick. Right in front of his face. Okay. Lovely! Lovely!
That was perfect.
Did that sound all right?
Yeah, that sounded perfect.
I didn't talk about my veg.
Why am I so bad? Why am I so bad? Sun opens its eye in the morning. Stars shine their light at night. Herald of the morn, she's always on time. Why am I so bad? Why am I so bad? Same wind blows on everyone, hole in everyone's heart. At night down my street, all the doors are shut. And if an angel was keeping strict accounts, she'd say that I was well in a black. If she was dealing love in safe amounts, she wouldn't say I was holding things back. Why am I so bad? Why am I so bad? City opens its heart to lovers. River opens its mouth. The bars are full of the loving and the good. Why am I so bad? Why am I so bad? Why am I so bad? Why am I so bad?
it can be quite different and difficult to see the whole world as a fleshy humanoid, and actually impossible to see the whole universe. But my focus was drawn to a patch of garden up here, because it's not just green grass, there's lots of variation. And it struck me that, you know, to much smaller insects, you know, because that's a different kettle of fish, you know, but insects. And it struck me very much that to them that will be their world and that will be their universe, very much so. And in the depths there will be the insects' houses, that's a given, but there'll be the streets and shops of these mini beasts. And, you know, it'll be life, death and existence all just waiting for, like, the magnifying glass to come in and observe. And, you know, that is quite something. That you take a space, make it smaller, it's still a world. Make it smaller again, it's a world. And, yeah, you know, gardens are full of little universes. And if that's not amazing, I don't really know what is.
And clap.
Whoa!
It's a wrap! It's a wrap!
Great, Mark. That was
Fucking
fab.
excellent.
That was fab.
I'm on this very cold and windy beach to talk about why I hate gardens, so that Mark's got a bit of balance for his film. And I didn't realise I hated gardens until I had to think about gardens. I haven't had a garden since I was a kid, and I don't know, I think instinctively just when I'm sitting in a garden I feel a bit restless and like I want to get out of it for some reason. But I think sort of symbolically, gardens kind of symbolise that middle classness, that sort of, they're one of the trappings of middle class aspiration that I think I associate with the sort of slow, agonising death. And so I don't know, for me gardens are about kind of gating yourself off from the rest of the world, which I think is probably an unreasonable prejudice, but it's one I think I just instinctively have had. And I think the sort of spaces that appeal to me are ones that haven't been curated by humans and that haven't been prettified and that are more barren and bleak and wild, and for me that's really beautiful and kind of nourishing in a way. I don't know, it's been interesting because I didn't realise I hated gardens, but it turns out I do.
Don't you need to hide away from the world? Don't you need a sanctuary? Don't you need a respite? You know, like a hospital.
Yeah.
You need a place that's calm,
Yeah.
where you can heal, which is utterly artificial. Nothing more artificial than a hospital. So I don't know.
I find this kind of thing, you know, this is a public space and there are people around, but it serves that same function for me and I don't feel oppressed by it. I think for me that kind of nourishment, that sort of respite which nourishes as well comes from these kind of wilder places, I suppose, places that haven't been curated by people and where there might be other people around, but I still feel kind of serenity.
Well, I know. I think I know what you mean. I mean, I love my garden because it's wild as fuck.
Yeah.
Can't you have a balance? Isn't my garden a balance?
Yeah, I mean you could, and I think definitely since the pandemic, my thinking has shifted a bit because suddenly the outside world feels quite threatening.
Yeah.
And it does feel more important to have that kind of sanctuary. But even then, when I think of gardens, I think of what Frank said. I think of sort of suburban death. It feels like the waiting room for
No, that's
dying.
exactly what Frank said. He said as soon as you move into one of those houses,
Yeah.
then it's all over.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
the only thing that's going to happen to you
Yeah.
is you're going to die.
Yeah, your spirit is going to wither,
Yeah,
and then
so
you ultimately
essentially,
die.
you're mortgaging a coffin.
Yeah. But whereas, if I come here, or I walk up a mountain or whatever, it feels like life. It feels like, it feeds me. It makes me feel really excited, and the world feels full of possibility. I feel like, and I can't speak for every single garden in the world. I don't know, but I really can't think of an exception.
Wow.
Where I've sat in a garden, I haven't felt slightly diminished. Constrained, yeah.
Blake said, where man is not, nature is barren.
Yeah.
So what you
maybe,
see is a
yeah.
kind of wildness, you can see is barren.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, I really actively like that barrenness.
Right.
I find it beautiful and frightening and exciting. And it feeds something that, I don't know, that doesn't get fed anywhere else for me. So, in summary, I think I don't know. There's something about the sort of tweeness and the way in which gardens are kind of cut off from the rest of the world that I don't know. It makes me want to escape them. It makes me feel oppressed, and I'd much rather come to a communal space where everyone's welcome. I think I'm just a prejudiced bastard, really.
Fucking hell.
Here I am in probably my favourite most place in the world, at probably my most favourite time of the world as well. My garden in spring, when the oxide daisies and the wildflowers are out. And this would have been Jackie's idea of perfection. It was her who wanted to plant this lawn with a wildflower garden, but sadly she never lived to be able to see it, partly because she was a girl in a predominantly boy family, and Nick and I used this lovely spot for football all the time. She wanted it to be a wildflower garden, but now it is a wildflower garden, and I have the honour and pleasure of being able to enjoy it. Well, sadly, she can no longer be here, as she was cruelly taken with cancer at much too young an age. Now, how anyone can make sense of why I get to be here, I don't know. But I am here, and all I can do is, I know that if she and Polly were able to be here, they would wish to be here with every atom in their bodies, because it is the greatest blessing in the world to be in England, in your own garden, in peace and quiet, when the oxide daisies are out.
The epilogue on 10:30, Thursday 7th of May 2020, from Henry Vaughan, 17th century poet. There's not a spring or leaf but hath his morning hymn. Each bush and oak doth know I am.
Slow, we're all in, and we're up for the show. Stand clear by the old West Pier, and we're singing on into the night, showing our hand, sharing the song. Sundown over Hanover Town, are we ever gonna get it right? Playing again, playing along, and that's one. We'll play again, and that's one. We'll play again. Sundown over Hanover Town, where the music and the rhythm's right, showing a hand, sharing the song. Sundown over Hanover Town, where we ever gonna get it right? Playing again, playing along, and that's one. We'll play again. Yes, that's one. We'll play again.
Once I'm safe again, I just have a yearning.
But I
to
mean,
do it.
without wanting to, push it, if a suburban garden represents death,
Yeah.
then actually your chances of dying in a suburban garden are very minimal.
Yeah.
Whereas the chances of falling off a ledge
No, but
in
it's a
Snowdon
slow,
much
agonising
higher.
death in suburbia, isn't it? Whereas it's a nice, quick, clean death off a mountain. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's not literal death. It's just death of the spirit.
No, it worries me.
What does?
Well, I mean, that in making that film about gardens and about my cat, for God's sake, that that it's infinitely bourgeois and and bad, therefore.
No. I don't think it is intrinsically bourgeois. It is. And I think, there's something really, I'm envious of you actually, that you get so much pleasure from your garden, because it's a much easier way of getting pleasure, isn't it? Than having to fucking climb,
because I'm
a
easily
big
pleased.
mountain.
Whatever. All right, now look, I'm going to switch this off now.
Okay.
We got enough.